Stories and reporting about the release of illegal immigrants into the United States continue to fuel more and more people heading north. By north, we mean to the U.S.-Mexico border. Border Patrol says a new caravan in southern Mexico could turn into 15,000 people by the time it reaches Texas, specifically the Rio Grande Valley, where the Border Patrol is already overwhelmed. The more overwhelmed the Border Patrol, the more people who get released into the United States. Robert Sherman is in Yuma, Arizona this evening for us. Hi, Robert.
Hey there, Leland. It seems as though that every year we see one of these large caravans start to form either in Mexico or somewhere in Central America and begin making its way north towards the U.S. That's exactly what we have here. Over the weekend, you saw people converging on South Mexico. Now, as of this morning, that over 1,000-mile journey is beginning for thousands of migrants towards the U.S.-Mexico border in Texas. In terms of how many people are in this group, the estimates have varied so far. Some have put the number between 4,000 and 6,000, but others have put it closer to 10,000, with the possibility of that number growing as more people join in farther down the road. And as is the case here in Yuma, we meet a lot of migrants who come from countries such as Venezuela, Cuba, Nicaragua. That's our understanding of the type of migrants who are in this caravan. Lots of Central Americans, Venezuelans, Cubans as well. And they're beginning this journey here to the U.S.-Mexico border. In terms of when they could be arriving, it's hard to say. The National Border Patrol Council says that when you have a group this large, it's really impossible to put a number to it. We will tell you that this journey is about 1,100 miles long. If you take a look at this map that we'll throw up here, the beginning in the southern Mexico city of Tapachula, that's right on the Guatemalan border. And the intel suggests that this group is going to take the coastline path along the Gulf of Mexico and then head north. That would put them on line to go to the Rio Grande Valley, which is where McAllen and Brownsville, Texas are, is what we know as the epicenter of the traditional border crisis. However, the National Border Patrol Council puts this into context, saying it is rare for these caravans to make it all the way to the United States. They more often than not splinter off north of Mexico City, and then potentially you have some of the people in those caravans going off to other cities, such as Eagle Pass, Laredo, Del Rio. So we've been talking with some of those local officials in those communities, and they say that considering how much of a concern there was with Title 42, that a lot of these communities would be overwhelmed, they've remained on high alert since then. They still have a lot of resources on the ground, which is why they say they are cautiously optimistic they'll be able to handle this should some of these caravan folks make their way to the border. Leland?
All right, Robert Sherman there in Yuma, Arizona. Robert, thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.